Vaccines represent one of the greatest achievements in medical science, having prevented countless deaths and serious illnesses since their inception. They work by training the body's immune system to recognize and combat pathogens, such as viruses or bacteria, without causing the disease itself. Despite overwhelming scientific evidence supporting their safety and effectiveness, vaccines have become the subject of widespread misinformation and fear, especially in the modern era of social media. To truly understand vaccines, one must delve into the science behind them, separate myths from facts, and appreciate the profound impact they have had and continue to have on global public health. Today, we will talk about vaccines explained, facts, myths, and science. How vaccines work, the science of immunity. Vaccines mimic natural infections, but in a controlled and safe way. When a pathogen, such as a virus, enters the body, the immune system produces specific proteins called antibodies that recognize and neutralize the threat. This process also creates memory cells, which remember the pathogen and respond rapidly if it enters the body again in the future. Vaccines introduce a harmless component of a pathogen, such as a killed or weakened form of the virus, a protein, or a piece of genetic material like mRNA, to stimulate this immune response without causing the disease itself. This pre-arming of the immune system ensures that if exposure to the real pathogen occurs, the body can respond quickly and effectively, often preventing illness altogether or significantly reducing its severity. Types of vaccines. A broad spectrum of approaches. There are several types of vaccines, each developed to best target different pathogens. Inactivated vaccines contain pathogens that have been killed but still stimulate an immune response, such as the polio and hepatitis A vaccines. Live attenuated vaccines use weakened forms of the pathogen that cannot cause disease in healthy individuals, examples being the measles, mumps, and rubella (MMR) vaccine. Subunit, recombinant, polysaccharide, and conjugate vaccines use specific pieces of the pathogen, like proteins or sugars, to trigger immunity. The HPV vaccine is one example. mRNA vaccines, a relatively new technology, provide cells with instructions to make a protein piece of the pathogen, prompting an immune response. This was famously used in COVID-19 vaccines like those developed by Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna. Viral vector vaccines, such as the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine, use a harmless virus to deliver genetic material into cells to stimulate immunity. Historical successes. How vaccines changed the world. The history of vaccines is rich with triumphs. The first successful vaccine, developed by Edward Jenner in 1796, involved inoculating individuals with material from cowpox lesions to protect against smallpox. This innovation led, nearly 2 centuries later, to the complete eradication of smallpox worldwide by 1980, a monumental public health victory. Vaccines have dramatically reduced and in some cases nearly eliminated diseases such as polio, diphtheria, whooping cough, measles, and tetanus. In countries with high vaccination coverage, these once dreaded illnesses are now exceedingly rare. Globally, vaccines save millions of lives annually and prevent the suffering of millions more. Yet despite this record, misinformation threatens to reverse many of these gains, underscoring the importance of understanding both the history and the ongoing necessity of immunization efforts. Common myths about vaccines. Debunking misconceptions. A major hurdle to vaccine acceptance is the persistence of myths. One of the most widespread is the false claim that vaccines cause autism, a notion that originated from a fraudulent 1998 study by Andrew Wakefield, which has since been thoroughly debunked and retracted. Numerous large-scale studies involving hundreds of thousands of participants have found no link between vaccines and autism. Another myth suggests that vaccines overload the immune system. In reality, the immune system encounters countless antigens daily from food, environment, and microbes. The number of antigens in modern vaccines is minuscule compared to the immune challenges children face naturally. Some believe natural immunity, acquiring immunity by getting sick, is better than vaccine-induced immunity. While natural infections can sometimes confer strong immunity, they come with the risk of severe complications, disability, or death, risks that vaccines are specifically designed to avoid. Addressing these myths with evidence-based information is essential for restoring public trust. Vaccine safety, rigorous testing and monitoring. Vaccines undergo one of the most rigorous testing processes of any medical product. Before approval, they pass through multiple phases of clinical trials involving tens of thousands of participants to assess safety and efficacy. Regulatory agencies like the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, the European Medicines Agency, EMA, and others review the data meticulously. Even after a vaccine is approved, it continues to be monitored through systems like the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, VAERS, in the United States. Side effects are usually minor and short-lived, such as soreness at the injection site, mild fever, or fatigue. Serious side effects are exceedingly rare, typically occurring at rates of 1 in a million doses or lower. When rare adverse events are detected, they are investigated thoroughly and recommendations are updated as necessary. Overall, the risk of serious harm from vaccination is far lower than the risk of complications from the diseases vaccines prevent. Herd immunity, protecting the vulnerable. Vaccination doesn't just protect the individual, it protects the community through the concept of herd immunity. When a high enough proportion of a population is immune to an infectious disease, it reduces the overall amount of the pathogens circulating in the community, thereby protecting those who cannot be vaccinated, such as newborns, individuals with certain medical conditions, or those undergoing chemotherapy. The exact percentage needed to achieve herd immunity varies by disease. For measles, which is highly contagious, about 95% of the population must be vaccinated. For diseases like polio, the threshold is lower but still significant. When vaccination rates drop, outbreaks can occur even in highly developed countries, as seen with measles resurgence in parts of Europe and the United States in recent years. Herd immunity is a powerful demonstration of collective responsibility in health. Vaccine development during emergencies, balancing speed and safety. The rapid development of COVID-19 vaccines led to concerns that corners were cut, but in reality, the acceleration was achieved through unprecedented global collaboration, significant funding, and simultaneous trial phases, not by compromising scientific integrity. The basic science behind mRNA vaccines had been in development for decades before the pandemic. Regulatory agencies still required full safety and efficacy data before granting emergency use authorization. Moreover, post-approval surveillance continued intensively to monitor for rare side effects. The COVID-19 vaccine rollout demonstrated that it is possible to produce safe, effective vaccines faster without sacrificing safety, provided the global community commits the necessary resources and transparency. Global vaccine equity, a moral and practical imperative. While wealthy countries have achieved high vaccination rates against diseases like COVID-19, low and middle-income countries often face shortages and access issues. Global initiatives like COVAX were established to promote vaccine equity, recognizing that infectious diseases do not respect borders. Ensuring that vaccines are available and affordable worldwide is not only a moral obligation, but also a practical necessity for controlling pandemics and preventing the emergence of new variants. Vaccine nationalism, hoarding vaccines for one's own country, can prolong global crises, highlighting the interconnectedness of modern health challenges. Emerging vaccines and future prospects. The future of vaccines is incredibly promising. Researchers are developing universal vaccines that could protect against all strains of influenza or even coronaviruses. Therapeutic vaccines designed to treat existing diseases like cancer are also under development, potentially revolutionizing medicine. Personalized vaccines tailored to an individual's genetic profile are another exciting frontier. Advances in vaccine delivery methods, such as microneedle patches and oral vaccines, aim to make immunization easier, safer, and more accessible. These innovations could broaden the reach of vaccines and further reduce the burden of infectious and non-infectious diseases alike. Trusting science, protecting health, vaccines are a cornerstone of modern medicine, a testament to human ingenuity, and an essential tool in the fight against disease. Misunderstandings and myths persist, fueled by misinformation. But the scientific evidence remains overwhelmingly clear. Vaccines are safe, effective, and life-saving. Understanding how vaccines work, appreciating their history, debunking myths, recognizing their rigorous safety measures, and promoting global vaccine equity are all crucial steps toward a healthier future. As we continue to confront new and existing health threats, maintaining and strengthening public trust in vaccines will be more important than ever. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay glowing with Glodian. See you in the next video.